what's up? This is Beau Allen, the Butter King. 7-year NFL vet, and today on Butter Breakdowns, we are going to talk about Bryce Huff. There's lots to be excited about for Eagles fans from free agency. I don't know if you guys heard, but the Eagles signed some pretty good players. A little guy named Saquon Barkley. Also, more importantly for me, this is a defensive, I'm a defensive guy. These breakdowns, defensive emphasis. So on defense, they re-signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which is huge. Devin White, a guy I played with for my time in Tampa Bay. Zach Bond, Wisco guy, baby. And then obviously Bryce Huff. So quick notes on the contract that Bryce got. 3-year deal, $51.1 million max value, $17.03 million average per year, and $34 million total guaranteed. So very good payday for a very good player. So he's making $17.03 million each year, like I said. That slots him just above Alex Highsmith in the edge market, and he's making $17 million a year. So the Eagles are betting that he can play more against the run than he did in New York with the Jets. And I think Bryce Huff will likely be getting more playing time overall as well. So new D-line coach for the Eagles, Big Clint Hurt. That's Hurt with 2 T's. Let's get a photo of him up here somewhere. He has a lot to be excited about with that signing. Speaking of new coaches, the Eagles will debut a new defensive scheme in 2024 under Vic Fangio. Talked about this in a Butter Breakdown of Christian Wilkins that I did last week. But Fangio was in Miami last year and basically runs an odd scheme where you need some absolute dudes at outside linebacker. He runs like an odd scheme, a lot of under against bigger personnel groupings, and then he actually blitzes a fair amount, mostly situationally, but I think he blitzed like 30% of the time, upper half of the league, essentially. But like I said, you need some dudes at outside linebacker, guys that can rush the passer and set the edge really well in the run game. And in Miami, they had, Chubb, Phillips, and Van Ginkel, another Wisco guy. Got to give him a shout out. And they played really well in that scheme. I think this is a role that Huff will excel at. So some quick notes on the Eagles' defensive front seven. It's, I want to tip my cap to Fletcher Cox, who just retired. Fletch is an unbelievable player. Fletch, I love you, man. It was a privilege playing with you. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. But in 2024, the Eagles will have a pretty young and talented defensive front seven that will excel with Hurt and Fangio. Guys like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, who I think is a really good player, plays with good technique, underrated player in my opinion too. And then Brandon Graham, BG, is back for year 15. I actually saw him in Philly last week, talked about his return. He was super stoked about it. But essentially, there's a lot of young, exciting talent in Philly in 2024 and a fresh defensive scheme under Fangio. So a lot defensively for the Eagles to get excited about. Another quick note, it remains to be seen what's going to happen with Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick, especially with Huff signing for, $51.1 million. There have been a lot of trade rumors circulating about these two. If I had to guess, I'd say Sweaty J stays in Philly and Hassan Reddick gets traded, but what the fuck do I know? I'm just a lowly content creator. So let's talk about Bryce Huff a little bit more. In 2023, Bryce Huff was with the New York Jets, very talented rusher, a little bit of more of a pass rusher than a run defender. The New York Jets in 2023 ran a 4-down, cover 3, cover 4 scheme under defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. Basically a 4-down gap penetrating scheme with minimal blitzing, which is kind of fun for a defensive lineman because you can really pin your ears back and get off the football. Here are some of his stats. Among edge rushers with at least 300 pass rush reps, he trailed only Micah Parsons with a pressure rate of 20.1%, which is very impressive. He had 10 sacks, which was tied 22nd among edge defenders, which is great. And then, like I said, he didn't play a ton. He only played 481 snaps for the Jets last year. Only 28% were against the run. So played more in pass rushing downs, pass rushing situations. So just with the contract that he got from Philly, he is going to be expected to be you know, a 3-down player. And so I think in Fangio's scheme as, you know, an outside linebacker setting that edge, he will excel in the, you know, a run defending role there, but definitely needs to improve in the run game a little bit. So let's watch some tape. There's a lot of talking from the Butter King. Let's get to this Butter breakdown. Eagles fans will probably remember this game. Week 6, Philadelphia Eagles at New York MetLife Stadium. Honestly, I played there a bunch. Not my favorite place to play. That's beside the point. New York Jets won 20-14, and Bryce Huff was a little bit of a menace in this game. He had 1.5 sacks. So, like I mentioned previously, for the Jets in 2023, Bryce Huff, number 47, was kind of a pass rush specialist, played a lot more in pass situations than the run game, but he's in a gap-penetrating 4-down scheme. Really like this 4-point stance out of him. Here he is on the left side, lined up against Lane Johnson. He does a really good job of protecting his chest with his inside hand when he's rushing. You see that right here. You see how he's kind of flashing that arm out there, getting ready to chop Lane's hands down, but he's a really good edge rusher. That's why he's getting paid $17 million a year, right? So this clip, I just want to kind of show him against a premier right tackle in Lane. You know, he's a little late off the ball here. He's 1st and 10. He's just kind of sorting it out. But what I really like to see here is at the top of this rush, once he gets a little bit into it, just this lean and this bend at the top of the rush. That is what gets guys paid as pass rushers, okay? Right here, just the ability to kind of at the top of the rush, bend, get really low, flip your hips, and get back on top of the quarterback. Now, he doesn't really affect this throw a lot, but I wanted to show just how good he is at bending, finishing at the top of rush, things like that. So this next clip, you'll see, unfortunately, Lane suffered an ankle injury. He was replaced by number 63, Jack Driscoll. Huff probably like to see that. So like I mentioned earlier, a little bit more of a pass specialist, but he's not bad at all in the run game. And this is a good clip of him in the run game. It's 1st and 10 here for the Birds. In quarter 1, they're in gun near the tight end and the running back on the same side. Anytime you're an edge defender and you see a tight end, this is a yo. We call it a yo, which means Y off. He's probably going to go back this way, and then the line is going to zone at you. So this is a good job playing the run from Huff. I really like this strike out of him here. Does a great job of two-gapping Driscoll. Really good strike, really good extension. And then I like his eyes in the backfield here. He sees the running back cutting up inside of him. Does a really good job shedding the right tackle and getting in on this play. So like I said, even though he's primarily a pass rush specialist, or at least he was for the Jets in 2023, he has the ability to do a good job against the run, and he will definitely be asked to be a 3-down player in Philadelphia. I think he'll excel in Fangio's defense as an edge run defender. You know, it's a good role for him. Here is Bryce Huff, number 47 for the Jets. New free agent acquisition for the Philadelphia Eagles, lined up against number 63, Jack Driscoll. I like this clip from Driscoll here. Taking some notes from Lane Johnson, really exploding out of his stance here. You see that? That looks like big number 65 out there. I love this rush from Huff. Watch this. Boom. Sticks it, cross chop, bends it at the top, and finishes on Hurts for one of his 1.5 sacks. Really like the timing of this. So I talked about this on a previous breakdown with Christian Wilkins. I love this big inside step he takes right here. Anytime you do that big inside step as a defender, you know that the offensive lineman is about to shoot their hands, okay? And I mentioned in the first clip that we watched, he does a really good job of protecting his chest with his inside hand. And that's where this cross chop right here comes in. Okay, you see him take that big step, and then as he jumps back outside, that's where that cross chop comes in. Really good timing from him. And he knocks down the outside arm from Driscoll here. And then what really, like I said earlier, really good job bending the corner right here at the top, flipping his hips back, pointing his toes toward the quarterback, and getting on that sack of Jalen Hurts. That's a really, really nice rush from him. I'm going to play that again because, honestly, it's a bam! That's a sexy outside rush. Really good job on the edge from Bryce Huff there. So, previously he was working on the left side against Jack Driscoll. Here he is, Bryce Huff, working on left tackle for the Birds, Jordan Mailata. Now, Jordan is a big, big boy. Let's see what Bryce Huff brings on this rep. This is 3rd and 6, so obvious passing down for the Eagles. Let's watch this guy. Boom. Really nice inside move from Bryce Huff. There's a lot to like about this clip. First of all, I really like his track, okay? Outside rusher. He knows that he's an outside rusher. He's threatening Jordan Mailata with speed out here. Once he feels Jordan Mailata's hips turn, once you get an O-lineman's hips turn like this, inside move is available. He does a really good job of putting on the brakes, taking that space, taking that inside move, affecting Jalen Hurts, getting him off his spot. Now, he does not get the sack here, but forces Jalen out of the pocket, ends up in an incompletion. The Jets are off the field. So really good rush here from the right side against Mailata. Puts on the brakes, takes that inside move. Also does a really good job with his hands, protecting his chest here, because even though he has space in this inside move and has the ability to take it, Jordan can still punch him with that right arm. So again, he hits that chop, defeats his Jordan Mailata's right hand, affects the quarterback, flushes him from the pocket, and the defense is off the field. It's nice. Here he is again. So Bryce Huff, he's a wide 9 in that gap penetrating scheme. This is another 3rd and 6, so a very obvious pass rush situation. Now Bryce Huff is 6'3", 255 pounds. Jordan Mailata is he's a massive, massive offensive lineman. I've met him in person. He's probably 6'8", 350 at least. Huff's probably given up at least 80 or 90 pounds to Jordan. Watch this rep. I really like this. Bull rush is nice. Does a really good job of getting off of him too and tackling Jalen Hurts as he goes to escape from the pocket. So as an edge defender, edge rusher, he understands that his strength is, attacking half of the offensive linemen on the edge and staying on the outside, but you can't live in that world every time. You need to set up other rushes. And so I really like his awareness here. He doesn't have a ton. He doesn't have the edge. There's a nice set from Jordan. He's sitting back waiting on him. So what does Huff do? Boom. Brings the power. So that's a really good job there of mixing up his rushes. And then I like how, he's protecting the outside because he knows that he has a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. He's peeking his hat out here because he does not want Hurts to escape to the outside. As soon as he feels Jalen step up in the pocket, really nice job of throwing Jordan by with this left arm here, bringing that right arm with an arm over, clearing it, flipping his hips, tracking back, and making the tackle here. So, this doesn't look like much, but, this is a really good power rush against a very good left tackle, and then finishing on a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. That's a great rush. Okay, here's the last clip I pulled of new Eagle Huff against his new team. This is a great, great rush. So this is 2nd and 10. There's a minute 41 left in the game. The Jets are up 20-14, so 2 minute. Birds are down a touchdown. They have to score here. This is a really nice clip here. Let me show it. Bryce Huff right here. Boom. Great get off. Runs right around the right tackle. Again, he would have loved to have finished this one. He's so clean. Really good job avoiding it by Jalen, but forces him to flush from the pocket, ultimately results in an incompletion. So the things I like about this rush, first of all, great get off. Really explosive and twitchy out of his hips, out of his stance. Does a really good job gaining ground. And I really like his track here. He beats the right tackle off the spot with athleticism and get off. And like I said, he does a really good job protecting his chest. Look at this right arm come for this big chop. He knows that he's past Jack Driscoll here. Now, granted, the right tackle is a little bit late off the ball. Didn't get out of his stance the best here. But this right arm here, the timing and the violence of it is what keep him free and what gets him to win this rush. Again, he doesn't finish it, but he affects the quarterback, forces him out of the pocket, ultimately results in incompletion. So overall, I think Bryce Huff is going to be a great fit for the Eagles in 2024. I think he's going to fit in really well as that dude that Fangio likes to have on the edge. Again, young and talented front seven defensively for the Eagles. I think there's a lot to be excited about for this signing, and I'm really, really excited to see Bryce Huff, in that midnight green or maybe even that Kelly green for the Eagles. And I think it's a really good marriage for him in Fangio's defense. So thank you for tuning in to another Butter Breakdown. This one was ultra buttery. I always love talking about the Eagles. Won a Super Bowl with them, so always love talking about the Birds. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you want me to break down, and I'll see y'all next time.